Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Russ Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We are down to 8 teams in the NFL. It's the divisional round, and these games are getting more and more important as teams get closer and closer to the ultimate goal, the Super Bowl. These teams are going to be playing so hard, and all 4 of these games on paper look to be solid matchups. I'm going to break down and predict every single one of these 4 games and see which teams I think will be moving on to the conference championship games and which teams will be going home. Now, to start out on Saturday afternoon, you've got the Houston Texans led by rookie C.J. Stroud, and they're going on the road to face the Baltimore Ravens led by Lamar Jackson. And this game has 2 guys in the MVP race because Lamar Jackson, long been thought of as the favorite to win the MVP for the last several weeks. C.J. Stroud has given him a run for his money because he played very well last week in the Texans win over the Cleveland Browns. They were at home, though. That was a big help for the Houston Texans, but they still dominated in that game. The Texans defense stepped up. The offense was humming. Nico Collins has proven to be one of the breakout players in the NFL this season at wide receiver, which has tremendously helped out C.J. Stroud. But the Ravens, they've got a pesky defense as well, and Lamar Jackson playing some of the best football of his entire career. The odds makers do have the Ravens favored by 9 points, which I do not blame them for having the Ravens favored by that much because the Ravens are such a talented team. I'm going to go with Baltimore to beat the Houston Texans 28-21 because they're at home. Lamar Jackson is playing so well, and the Ravens defense is very stout, but I believe C.J. Stroud is going to have a solid game, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to get the Texans the victory, but I think they will fall short to the Ravens. Then on Saturday Night Football, you've got the Green Bay Packers traveling on the road to the San Francisco 49ers. Now, both San Francisco and Baltimore, it's always interesting when teams have not played and they've had that resting period and the other teams coming off a big win like the Texans and Green Bay. That is another factor that I took into account for sure with both of these games. But San Francisco is a talented team. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy, the head of the snake, passing the ball all over the field. He's been solid this season, and he was even in the MVP race at times this year, even though he faltered a bit down the stretch, especially with that 4-interception game that he had against the Baltimore Ravens. And then you look at Green Bay, possibly the biggest surprise team that won last week. To some people, especially if you're a Dallas fan, but for other people, they expected the Cowboys to choke. But Green Bay did a good job getting that win over the Dallas Cowboys on the road, scoring 48 points. Jordan Love did a fantastic job, but now they're going to have to go on the road again and another tough environment. And with a San Francisco 49ers team that we know doesn't normally choke in the playoffs as frequently as the Cowboys do. Last year, the Niners went far in the playoffs until Brock Purdy got hurt. This is going to be a tough game for Green Bay to win, and the betting odds reflect that. The 49ers are favored by 9.5, but the Cowboys were favored by around 8, and they still lost to the Packers. I think Jordan Love's going to play very hard and give it everything he's got, but I will go with Brock Purdy and the 49ers who are at home. Even though they've had a weaker rest like the Ravens, could make it interesting to see how they match up with a Green Bay team is coming in hot and hungry, but I do believe San Francisco will win 31-20 over the Green Bay Packers for the Niners to move on to the conference championship game. Then you've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions on Sunday afternoon. The Lions are at home for another playoff game. They got their first playoff win since 1992. It's a good time to be a Detroit Lions fan for the first time in a very long time. But Tampa Bay, they defied a lot of odds, and they made the NFL playoffs this season. And then they knocked off the Philadelphia Eagles at home. The Eagles fell apart at the end of the season, and Tampa Bay blitzed them, completely blew them out. Baker Mayfield had a really good game, but Jared Goff played fairly well against the Los Angeles Rams last week, and the Lions barely held on in that game, beating former Detroit Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford and the Rams 24-23. That was a really good game. The Lions held on, but Tampa Bay, they're coming in hot, just like Green Bay and the Texans, so that is going to make a lot of people believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a shot to win. The Lions are favored by 6.5, so the home field advantage is definitely helping all of these teams that are the favorites to have a good shot to win according to the betting odds. I think Tampa Bay is going to play very hard, but I feel like the key in this game is going to be the Detroit Lions defense led by Aiden Hutchinson. They're really going to get to Baker Mayfield, probably sack him a few times. If Baker has time to throw them, get it to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and they can go down the field on offense, the Bucs will have a shot, but I think the Lions will be too much on defense defense, and Jared Goff will have a good enough game. And they're riding off their first playoff wins is 92. I'll go with the Lions to beat the Bucs 27-17. And in the final NFL Divisional Round game, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs on the road this time, which is so rare in the NFL playoffs. Usually Patrick Mahomes is always having the Chiefs as the home team, but they're going on the road to face a familiar foe in the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. And in the playoffs, Josh Allen has never knocked off Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Is this finally their year? Having the home field advantage is going to help, but as you can see, the Bills are only favored by 3 points, and unfortunately, the Bills do have a lot of injuries on their defense right now that they're going to have to hope that some of those guys can return. I'm sure about half of their injured guys will be able to play in this game, but how effective they will be, I don't know. And the Chiefs, they've got a rising star in Rashee Rice. The Chiefs wide receiver room has been an object of scrutiny all season, but they've gotten it together a little bit toward the end of the season. Travis Kelce has been playing a little bit better lately as well. They blew out the Miami Dolphins at home last week. That was an easy win for the Chiefs, but they're no longer in Arrowhead. And the Bills played very well last week, getting that win over the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Their offense played very well, especially at the beginning of the game, and their defense definitely did enough to keep the Pittsburgh Steelers at bay and prevent them from getting the win. I do believe that this is going to be Josh Allen's year. They're at home. The Bills defense, despite the injuries, is playing well, and their offense is much better than it's been in the past because the Buffalo Bills can actually run the football this season. With James Cook at running back, that has tremendously helped out Josh Allen to be able to not have to carry as much of the running load for the Bills. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to play hard. Patrick Mahomes always does a better job in the playoffs, but I do believe that the Bills will knock off the Chiefs 28-24 for Josh Allen to finally get his first playoff win over Patrick Mahomes. But those are the 2024 NFL Divisional Round games. All of these matchups have intrigue, and hopefully all of them will be very competitive football games, and it's going to be really interesting to see which teams win and make it to the conference championship games. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about my picks for every single NFL Divisional Round game, and which teams you think will advance to the conference championship games and which teams you think will lose, and what you think about my pick for every single NFL playoff game this week. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.